Hey guys, welcome back to Luke's Goldies. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how I constructed this new goldfish system I'm showing you here in my greenhouse. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps me grow. So basically what I did in this system was I added these two big galvanized steel stock tanks, and they're both around 170 gallons each. And in doing this, adding these two to the system, it really increased my gallon space to close to 500 gallons for the entire system. And when you have a larger volume system like this, you can have more fish. And I'm anticipating a lot of young rancher babies very close in the future. So I want to have a large volume system that can really contain all these new fish. Because when you're going to have a lot of fish, you're going to have a lot of waste. And you want to dilute that waste across a very large volume of water. Alright, so I just got these two galvanized steel stock tanks. Both are 170 gallons. And I'm going to be putting them in this greenhouse right here. I'm going to hopefully be staggering them and stacking them on this left wall right here, and then turning that fish tank to the right. Okay, so a little more about these two stock tanks that I have here. They're both 170 gallon tanks, and I bought them for $160 each, both at Tractor Supply Company. So I'm going to be having this one right here be the one on the ground, this one right here be the one on top, and I'm gonna stagger them, have one hanging over the edge. I'm gonna have bricks underneath it to support it, and I'm also gonna have some cross beams maybe made out of wood to support the other one on top of it when I have it in the greenhouse over there. Okay, so this is the general layout of what the two tanks are gonna look like inside the greenhouse in that corner right there. I'm gonna have the first one shifted forward, and then I'm gonna have the one on top staggered back and some bricks and stuff supporting it up. And this way I'm gonna have the tank water poured directly into this one, and then once this one fills up to the top, I'm gonna have an opening right here and a bulk fitting that will bring the water back into this bottom tank. And having this bottom tank fill up, I'm gonna have a hole right here, which is gonna bring it back into the main tank, which is actually shorter than this, around 4 or 5 inches shorter. All right, so a little update. So I did spray some galvanizing spray along these holes to make sure that they wouldn't rust over time with having water exposed to them, because these are galvanized steel, which means they're zinc coated. So if you drill into that and you open it up and you expose that iron, it's probably going to start rusting, so you want to respray it with some zinc coating. So that's what I did. Also, those two tanks are now ready to go in to our greenhouse we got right here. So this right here is going to be the stock tank on the bottom, and this right here is going to be the stock tank on the top. And as you can see, I got these bulk fittings, and I did drill some holes into this galvanized steel. I still haven't sealed it up, I just kind of put them in there to fit it, but I drilled some holes into this galvanized steel. I'm going to put these fittings through, and basically this tank is going to be set above this tank right here. Okay, so this is just a quick little setup of what it's going to look like once I have it in the greenhouse in that left section right over there. So again, we have the bottom tank, we have the top tank, and we have these little PVC adapters to the bulk fittings right here. And basically I haven't measured it out yet, but I'm going to have to go to Home Depot and buy piping that's going to lead that to pour back into here. And then I'm also going to need to buy piping that's going to lead these ones and let them go basically back into the main stock tank I have in the greenhouse over there. And I just removed this front panel of the greenhouse so I can load the two tanks right over here. So this first tank is going to come to the edge right there, and the second tank is going to overhang, and the back of it's going to be on top of those bricks and plywood over there. But basically, we're taking those two tanks back there, and we're going to be stacking them right here, and then I'm going to be putting the pipes I already measured and cut into place. Then we're going to be putting the pipes in to make sure that it all fits and it all works. Alright, so a little update on the progress right here. We have the bottom tank set over our little piece of plywood to raise it up a little bit. And then right here I have, this is actually another piece of pressure treated plywood, but I sealed it off in duct tape because I was worried a little bit that the water might splash onto it and chemicals might go into the water. And pressure treated plywood definitely got a lot of harmful chemicals for fish. You don't want that touching near the system, so I covered that up with duct tape. I got my pipes, I pre-measured them, and I cut them to what they need to be. Alright, so I haven't sealed up the pipes anyway, and I haven't stabilized them yet. I'm probably going to have to build some sort of structure that holds them in place. But this is a rough layout. So these pipes right here, they are going to return the top tank water to the bottom tank water. And then I still have two pipes I got to add here. I already have those measured and cut. Those are going to bring the water back into the main tank where we got the fish. So I have sealed up these pipes. These pipes are all sealed up except for this point right here where these join. I do want to be able to remove them if I need to clean it out. but they're pretty snug in there. I don't expect any leaking. This point, I use some Teflon tape to seal that up. These things, this little seal in there, that little rubber seal, that makes it watertight. And I PVC cemented all the rest of these joints together. And basically what I'm doing right now is I'm filling this thing up. Pretty soon it'll be all the way to the top and flowing down over here. And I put some bricks over here. I decided that I wanted to stack some bricks and put them up to the edge here because over time, this tank, it's going to be very heavy. It's going to be 170 gallons, and 170 gallons times 8 pounds per gallon. I'm bad at math, but that's a lot of weight. So I think it is going to warp the wood over time. So I put some bricks here, hopefully to give it some extra support. Also put an extra piece of this duct tape sealed up plywood just to prop it up and make sure that, you know, the weight doesn't sink down the board over time and, you know, make any collapse or anything like that happen. And also, I've decided to use this little box here that I drilled these holes in. I've decided to use this to actually house my filter media. And I'm going to be putting that stuff just kind of inside the tank or on the ground right there, like in that tank. And I'm just going to be using this stuff to hold the filter media. And so basically, I'm sorry, it's a little loud in here. The water is still going. I'm going to take all this filter media. I use Lava Rocks as my media. And I'm putting them all in here. I'm going to empty out this whole tank. I'm not even going to really have this tank anymore. I want it to be open so I can see my fish. I don't want this blocking my fish. So I'm taking all this stuff out. I have one mesh bag in here with filter media. I'm keeping that in the mesh bag. But all this stuff I'm going to be putting in this box. Alrighty, little update. So we got the pump in the main tank. We have it pumping into this top tank, the water returning to this one, and then from this bottom tank returning into the tank with the fish again. And I know the water is very dark and very dirty right now because when I took that filter box out and I took all the little lava rocks and put them in the box in here, all kinds of dirt and sediments got lifted up into the water. So I have a filter sock on there. I got 2 filter socks here, and I got a little pump there. Hopefully within maybe 5 hours to 20 hours, however long it's going to take, the water will clear up and the system will look nice and clean. So I'm going to record a video once the water is nice and clear. I did shorten these pipes up a little bit so they're a little more flush, and I put some elbows in the bottom, and those elbows really help get the current to flow this way. As you can see, the bubbles from them that flow this way, and they kind of make a whole circle around the whole tank. You can see all the bubbles like to flow around a circle in the whole tank, and they make their way back to the pump, and the pump faces on the opposite side. So basically, we got some pretty good circulation here. We also have an air blower on the ground. I have the pump raised up because if there happens to be some problem, some sort of leakage, I don't want it draining the tank with the fish completely. So I have the pump raised up on 3 bricks, and I have these ones going down, I think about 8 inches down. So the water doesn't go all the way down to the ground, but we do have that bubbler there sitting on the ground, and that does cause a current to come up. So we have water going in a circle, and we have the current being pushed up from the bottom as well, because the fish kind of like to hang out near the bottom. So they are going to get, that good circulation they need, the circular circulation from the inflow to the outflow, and also some from the bottom to the top. Okay, so right here I'm actually drilling some holes in a 5-gallon pail, and I'm making this little bucket to hold some filter media and also to have some filter paddings in it. And initially what I did is I ended up putting it right where the pump poured into, but I think I'm actually going to have it be near the pipes that bring the water from the first top tank into the second tank, and I'm going to have a different bucket, more like a rectangle bucket with holes drilled in it on the first stage. So I'm going to have 2 stages where the water goes through some filter padding. Now basically I'm putting the filter padding in here like this in this video, but what I'm actually doing is I'm filling that bottom area with filter media, lava rock, that's what I use, and I'm putting the filter paddings on top of that. So the water gets filtered, then goes through the filter media, and then goes into the tank. But basically, I got that bucket I showed you earlier. I have a bunch of filter paddings in there. The water flows straight into there, and then it goes through the filter paddings, through the rocks I have in the bucket. Then it flows out, goes to these 2 holes. From there, it flows down into this tank. I have a bunch of filter media in there. I'm going to be adding more filter media. As you can see, there's a box with lava rocks. I'm going to be adding more mesh bags, probably in here, and also in here, of just more filter media. The more filter media, the better. The more rocks and things that can hold bacteria you have in here, the better. It's just going to make the system a more stable system, and my bio load when I have all my new Rancher babies is going to be huge. Alright, so this is probably the last progress update of this video. So the water is a lot more clear now. It's still a little foamy. I'm not sure exactly why it's foamy. Maybe there's I'm not even sure there's breeding action going on because the water has warmed up a little bit recently. I hope not, because I don't want any breeding right now from these guys. But this is basically what the system is going to look like for the time being. I do have an extra box there, and basically what I found out is that these boxes right here fit perfectly long ways on my tank. And the nice thing is I could just fill these with filter media, and the water will pass through it, and I'll have a ton of filter media in there. And the filter media I'm using are just lava rocks. You can get these at Home Depot. But basically, this system it accomplished exactly what I wanted to. I over tripled my gallon space, and I can throw as much filter media as I want in there. The majority of the fish I still believe I'm going to hold in this tank right there, but the water is going to be a lot more clean, so I could really overstock that tank without actually legitimately overstocking because of how clean the water is going to be from how much extra gallon space I have from these two. Now, we are getting rid of this thing. I think I told you that earlier. It is possible I might put a little extra sump there and also put that into the system somehow. Or I also have some room right here. Eventually in the future I could add a little more gallon space here and just add that into the system somehow. Or even above that tank somehow, I could add some extra gallon space. As long as your pump is in the lowest possible water bin and it pours into the highest possible water bin, you could expand this system to many more containers and just increase your gallon space, increase your fish load. But for now, this is what we got. This is our new system, and basically that's the steps that I did to construct it. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Really helps my account grow, and it motivates me to make more videos for you guys. If you have more suggestions for videos, leave them down in the comments below. I'm going to try to make a bunch in these next 2 weeks.